Welcome to the world of ALP Astrology. I am Mrs. Nithya Shankar, ALP Astrologer, joining you from Chennai. Along with me is my friend Roopesh Naidu, who is also an ALP Astrologer, joining me from Bangalore. Now we will start with a small invocation and then get into the program. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hi Roopesh, you can just tell hi to our viewers and then we'll get into the program. You are muted, Roopesh.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, madam. Very good morning, madam, and a very good morning to all our viewers, and a very happy Sunday.
Yeah, fine. I think today we will get into the program, and the highlight of today is the planet Mars.
Exactly.
Who's more sorted and more, I mean, people are so scared of this planet when it is marriage related issues, isn't it? So I think we should address this before we get into the subject further. Yesterday, I'll just give you a recap. We just saw what astrology is, a very basic insight to it, and why is it required in marriage, especially while it is required in all facets of life, but predominantly we see people taking the horoscope for matching purposes, even if they hadn't seen horoscope before. But for marriage matching, we take our horoscopes and we reach out to the astrologers to find the suitable match, right? So we also saw how ALP is evolving and how is it helping in marriage making, marriage matching and all these aspects. We just touched a little bit of what ALP is basically. We will further talk about ALP and the role ALP plays in horoscope for marriage aspects. Today, we will primarily talk about the planet Mars. Mars is the planet which is primarily seen in the girl's horoscope for Mangalik dosha or anything. Before we get into the dosha aspect, first what Mars is. Mars is indicating the Kala Purusha Tattva's first house and the 8th house, which is the Aries house and the Scorpio house. So first we'll understand what is the difference between Mars placed in Aries and Mars placed in Scorpio. Mars placed in Aries, for example, if I can tell the person's characteristic, very basic traits, this person placed in Aries, he will be very aggressive. What he will do is immediately be short-tempered. He will go fight and then only think. If you go argue with him, he might slap the person and then he might, calm down and then probably he will think. But the person in Scorpio, he will argue, but if he thinks that he cannot win over that situation, he will have it in his mind. But when the right opportunity comes, he will attack. So, Chatur, you can say a smart person that way, and also a person to be little, cautious about. So that's the trait because he owns 2 houses in the Kala Purusha chart. So this is the significator, and this is the difference between these 2 houses. A little history about Mars planet. just for knowledge purposes. In Brahma Vaivarta Purana, it said that Mars is the son of Mahavishnu and Bhuma Devi, which is the Mother Earth. So he's born in the ocean from a coral. So that is why the coral is the gemstone for Mars. So people prefer coral who say with Manglik dosha, you can put this and all, where use coral, right? So this is the background behind why coral is associated with Mars. And the Lord who rules Mars is Subramanya Swami or Lord Muruga, you can, as generally he's known. So, and the color for Mars is red. That is his color that indicates the planet Mars. So these are very basic information for knowledge purposes, and people can use these colors if they have powerful Mars in their horoscope, and this will add to positivity in their life, on day-to-day life. So this is about Mars in general. So now, why is Mars such a big deal? Why is it considered or scared about so much? Because in the female's horoscope, the 8th house is Scorpio. We also call it the Mangalik space, right? So since if in the Kalapurusha Tattva, Aries is the first house and Mars is also the ruler of the 8th house. And this house is denoting how the lifespan or how the journey is going to be after marriage or all related marriage issues, right? But is it always essential to be scared about this space? Who and all should be scared? Is only one person indicating the entire journey of the marriage? Is that alone the primary thing that we should all look for in a marriage? I don't think so, because that was the search our Guruji, Sri Podudai Murthy, was constantly, he was thinking, because he always mentions in our classes that this is the starting point where he really felt very bad when people came back to him from after visiting many astrologers, and that old mother and a daughter with Mangalik dosha came, and that time he felt that one planet cannot be the cause for a delay in marriage. That started as a journey, and that was the seed which became fruitful when on the advent of ALP. That was a searching point, because one's planet is not acting on us at any point of time. All the 9 planets act on us. So primarily Mars, if you see, if he is your Lagna point or the Lagna Adhipati or the Lagna Lord, then yes, you should take Mars into primarily, accountable. But the most powerful aspect is the Lagna point Lord. If it's Mirhasisha or Mars related indicating planets, the stars, those points, if you are, if it is your current ALP and the ALP Lagna point, then yes, that is one thing. And if you have the Mars Dasha or the Dasha Bhukti somewhere, if Mars is playing a role, then yes, that aspects will be there. So now what is this dosha? Assuming that Mars is ruling your Lagna or the Lagna point, and if it is in the malefic places like 6th or 8th place or 10th or 12th houses, then the native will not be, if the opponent is very weak, this person will be very arrogant, can be dominant, can be forceful, will be with high willpower to, give adverse effects if his energy is not channelized, because Mars is generally considered to be a bundle of energy. huge. It's a fiery planet, right? So this person, if the other person is always weak, then the other person's emotion is always, suppressed. So that is the cause where which can impact a marriage. Like imagine one person is the dominant one, the other person is always in the weak spot. So the other person is always not able to voice up their emotions. So on a normal day-to-day life, how much can a person suppress their emotions? At some point of time, it will just burst or it will break off. That's exactly what happens if the match is not made right. But is the for native, this is about how Mars behaves, right? So if a native who's born with a Mangalik dosha, the points being 1, 4, 7, 8, 10, 12. In these places in your chart, if Mars is there in your birth lagna, it is considered to be Mangalik dosha. But Mangalik dosha, will it be forever? No, right? Because in ALP, we say that the lagna is shifting from one point to another. So in that case, that if Mangalik dosha is there at the time of birth, when the lagna shifts to the other house, then the Mangalik dosha may or may not be there. So for a dosha person, you are seeing a match, then that's a different thing. For a person without dosha, we go and find alliance, and we'll never be able to succeed, or unnecessarily the person will be not given an opportunity because he is actually a Shuddha Jataka today. So that is the confusion which is happening. Or sometimes you match unrelated horoscopes, and in a brief span of time, this marriage breaks off. So for more insight on how it works, I would hand it over to Roopesh to continue from here.
Hi, madam. So, a hot topic. So, since our videos are completely based on marriage, so the planet which you have picked up today is Mars. So, Mars is a planet out of, if you see all the 9 planets, right? So, Mars is a planet which is the more active planet when it comes to the entire set of 9 planets in the astrology. So, as you rightly said, Mars owns 2 houses, that is Aries and Scorpio. So, in one of our videos where our sir, Padude Murthy sir, he has very beautifully explained about the importance of 6th house. I'll tell you, like how Manglik dosha or the importance of Mars and the 6th house are need to be considered whenever it comes to the point of marriage or whenever we come across the horoscope which has Manglik dosha. First and foremost, what we need to understand is the gain of any house is the 11th house of from that house. For example, since the Mars is owning first house and 8th house, so the 11th house of the first house in the Kalapurusha Tattva is the natural zodiac, which is Aquarius. In the same way, the 11th house for the 8th house in the natural zodiac becomes Virgo, the 6th house. So the gain of the first house remains in the 11th house, whereas the gain of the 8th house remains in the 11th house to 8th house, that is the 6th house. So why are we considering this? Because Mars is a planet which actually talks about the physical strength of an individual. So there is a concept in the Satya Jataka where it talks about the planet's maturities and the right age to the present situation, the right age for the marriage starts between the age of 21 years. And if you actually look at the individual this is the time where the physical strength of any individual would be at its very peaks, right? So which means the influence of Mars has already got inside the person where the physical strength is it is considered to be in a huge consideration. So how do we actually understand this? So irrespective of anything where the horoscope is to be Manglik, okay, the two things which the individuals should be very, very aware of. It is the energy of sixth house and the energy of 11th house. So why the energy of sixth house? Sixth house is the house which talks about the physical strength of a person. And sixth house is the house which also talks about the runa. And sixth house becomes the 11th house to the 8th house. 8th house is what? 8th house is generally considered to be the Mangalya Sthana. The gain of the Mangalya Sthana remains in the sixth house. Sixth house is the house of self-discipline. So first and foremost, what our viewers, like people whoever is watching this content, should understand: if any astrologer has pointed out that you have a Manglik dosha or you are born in the Manglik horoscope, the two things what you have to consider is it is very, very simple. You just need to work on your sixth house and your 11th house energy. So if you start working out on these two energies, automatically your Mars starts behaving positive in your horoscope. It is very much as simple as this. You just need to be aware how to handle your sixth house and how to handle your 11th house. So how do I understand, like how do I actually work on the sixth house energy? First and foremost, sixth house energy majorly talks about your self-discipline. And Mars is a planet which always seeks activeness in you. The more lazier you are, you're destroying your Mars. The more lazier you are, you're destroying your Saturn. The more lazier you are, you're destroying your Mercury. Just one this practice. If you're lazy, you're destroying all these planets. It is as simple as that. The more active you become, the sixth house energy starts manifesting very positive to you. Where on the other hand, it behaves as the 11th house to 8th house, which brings out the gains of the 8th house. So it is very, very important. So that is the reason I generally tell, if you are being pointed out as a Manglik, start working on your sixth house. Start being self-disciplined. Start focusing on your physical strength. Be very, very active. Join fitness centers. And sixth house is what? Sixth house is your stomach. Eat good. Avoid less junks. All these small, lifestyle changes will completely give you, a major positive result. So this is the matter of sixth house, but we still have the 11th house energy which we need to perform. And one very much important thing about sixth house is, see, as you already explained, Mars is a planet which is of very much aggression. And the significator of sixth house also becomes Mars and Saturn. Sixth house is what? It is the house of service. It is the house of employability. So being into the service sector, the remedy is very, very simple. Start getting yourself into any sort of service or help people who are actually searching for a job. So just forwarding their CVs in your own circle also helps, because also it positively turns out your sixth house energy for you. And coming to the 11th house, 11th house is what? 11th house is our community. 11th house is the group where and all we participate ourselves. And the planet which governs 11th house is Saturn again. So if you see in the natural zodiac, right, the sixth house is governed by Mercury, which an inimical planet to Mars, and also the 11th house, which is governed by Saturn, again an inimical planet to the Mars, Saturn and Mercury. But here, operating on these two energies, will give the maximum benefits. The positivity of the Mars improves in your horoscope. So 11th house, as we are speaking, it is the community and it is the groups, and 11th house, which actually talks about our friendships, the friend circle. This 11th house energy, if you positively activate, how do I positively activate? Pick up the Mars Karakatvas and put it in your 11th house. Start helping people on this. Since it is a marriage related aspect, try helping your friends. That is the 11th house energy. Try helping your friends in terms of marriage. Since it is the house of Saturn, start indulging yourself in the services related to the marriage. Just the bits and pieces of help, what you do to the community which you are participating, to the group which you are getting involved, very actively improves your Mars in the horoscope. It is as simple as that. So just working on the energies of the 11th house and on the 6th house very beautifully improves your Mars in the horoscope. This is this is the first thing what you have to understand if you are being pointed out to be a Manglik. That's it. And very importantly, Mars, since Mars is a planet of aggression and it also becomes the significator of 6th house, you have to first develop an attitude of forgiving people, because since it is 6th house and there is also the influence of Saturn over there, Saturn doesn't like fights. And Mars also, it is the planet of aggression. The day when you start forgiving people, the day when you start developing this emotion of forgiving people, automatically your negative Mars will start behaving positive to you. So these are all the very small and basic things which you have to understand if you are like really suffering with the ill effects of Mars. And Mars is what? Mars is your blood. And eighth house in the horoscope actually shows the lower abdomen portion of the Kalapurusha Tattva. Since Mars is governed that house, regular detox process will also improve your Mars in the horoscope. So these are all something which talks about the self-disciplinary activities of a person. If you start thinking in these things, if you start modifying yourself in these aspects, automatically you should be very very happy that you are being Manglik. Because on the other hand, it is actually trying to indulge this self-discipline in an individual. So once after this happens, right, automatically the Mars becomes positive and you're all good to go with your marriage.
That's awesome, Roopesh, because it clearly says there is no necessity for anyone to be scared of Mars or any planet for that matter. See, everything in this universe is created, and this life itself is a transformation process. We started somewhere and we need to end somewhere. But over the journey, we should have been a transformed human being, right? So these planets are here to give some small tests for us to perfect ourselves. So that is all it is about. Why scared? Why? See, it's similar to the examination fear. We have been prepared. We have been, trained from childhood to be self-disciplined. That is what Roopesh just mentioned. But the thing is, we are overpowered by our Maya or the traits, that we already possess, that we don't want to change ourselves. We are feeling comfortable being lazy. On a rainy day, we all feel like, cuddling ourselves and sleeping in one corner throughout the day also. So if we continue to do that, yes, Mars is a dosha there. Then Mars will take a stick and whip us. So, we should be prepared for that whipping because we are asking for it. So now that we are all aware that this is what we should be doing. So when we are feeling lazy, think about Mars. That's the master with the whipping stick who's ready to, train us to get perfect. So just escape from that aspect of getting whips and be that good, intelligent student there. So can we get to the horoscope and just check how Mars is and explain with the horoscope, Roopesh?
Yes, madam. I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So whenever we address the horoscope through ALP system of astrology, so on a general note, if you actually look at the horoscope is the Pisces Lagna, and the placement of Mars is in the sixth house, right? So generally, what it is considered.
Excuse me, Roopesh, the screen sharing is not happening. While Roopesh is trying to fix up the screen sharing, the whole problem area is where to improve is that for Mars you should do a lot of workout because you are in tremendous amount of energy circle. So that energy will demand you to burn it. You would have seen hyperactive kids. These kids just run around burning out their energy. So when Mars is dominant in your horoscope, you should burn your energy, go for walking, go for gym, go do a lot of things, keep moving, because you should not be sitting in one place, then that becomes a disease. Because once you're sitting and stagnating your energy in one place, what happens? It just becomes a problematic issue. What you might tend to overeat, you might in fact, when Mars is active, you might like a lot of spicy food, like literally hot and spicy. So those kind of foods you should actually avoid. You should take more, neutral foods, more salads, more calming foods. Or even if you want to eat spicy food, you should balance your diet with something which is also cooling your system. Like you can take tender coconut, buttermilk, or something which is complementing the spicy food that your tongue lingers for. uh, I'm not saying you should completely avoid it, but you should know to balance your taste buds against your health. So this kind of a discipline will actually help you, to maintain your health also, because you're otherwise, people with, I mean, Mars activated person might contract ulcers or acidity issues or something like that, which will completely mess up the system in your system, and that might cause you migraine headaches. So it is all a chain process. So you will end up suffering. So that way you should be very conscious on your food habits, your exercise regimen, and more. People tend to be jealous and self-centered. So when these Mars activated people, so you should always, um, the basic rule of life is when you give, you get more happy than when you get. So when you distribute and see the happiness in the other person, you tend to be very, very satisfied of that, you have been productive and brought a smile in a person's face, right? So it is always better, as Roopesh rightly said, that community service or some service of that category amongst your own circle, that you can do something which will benefit others. When you are doing it for others without having any selfish motive or notion, automatically it will start becoming a parihara or a remedy for fixing your own issues, because you get tested until you have not transformed. The minute you have proved that you are transformed and you maintain that lifestyle, you're no longer tested, right? So this is what exactly the planets do in our life. So for a Manglik or non-Manglik, I think if we have some basic ground ethical values in place and we continue to stay there irrespective of whatever changes happen, then the life will be in a straightforward and a streamlined manner. Because you would have seen some people around you whose life is like from where you saw till today, they are only living one straight life. There is no big problems or big downfalls or big rises also. They are like, a steady life without any hassles. So if, those kind of people, if you observe them or ponder into their life, mostly they will be very neutral people. They will not jump over when it is high or sit in misery and cry when it is a low. They will take life as it comes. This is the most important aspect and the area of change for each of us. If we consciously do these things, all these planets, they come and go with giving whatever duty they are asked to perform, and it is all self-earned. We have got this karma on us, so we have to experience that, but take it lightly. What is today will be different tomorrow. It's not going to be the same way, right? We are living, so we need to have different experiences. The ECG, how is it? Up and down, right? So only then this is life and energy. If we are eating only sweets and no salt or spicy, then after a point, we don't feel like eating, isn't it? So similarly, the experiences of life will go up and down, but still life will be experience to share only when you had some thing happening in your life. So take life sportively.
Madam,
and
is my screen visible? Sorry for
no, it
interruption.
isn't
Is my screen
visible.
visible?
Rupesh, I think we will do the chart tomorrow. If you have any other points to add on Mars, I think you can do it because we'll have limited time now.
Okay. So Mars is something which we can actually speak for ages, madam. So Mars is that is the uniqueness of Mars. Mars is what it is, like such an active planet among all the 9 planets, where Mars always seeks activeness. The wherever it is get posted right in the chart, you just need to work on the activeness of that house. That's it, and you're all good to go with the Mars in your life. Mars is what? Mars is your siblings, right? Your co-borns. That too, especially your younger siblings. Be good to your younger siblings. Automatically, your Mars will be positive in your horoscope. Eat good. Your Mars will be positive in your horoscope. Have a good blood health. Your Mars will be good in your horoscope. So, like this, Mars has like a huge, influences in an individual. And coming to the point of ALP, yes, as you rightly said, Manglik dosha is something not keeps following us for the entire life. So this is exactly what the ALP unwinds the truth of doshas or the yogas. So whenever there is a shift, whenever there is a progression in the birth lagna, as you have rightly mentioned earlier, the positioning of Mars, if the Mars get positioned in those negative houses to the ALP lagna, only during that period, the Mars is considered to be negative for the individual. So Manglik dosha, because we do come across the cases, right, where people tell we have done lots and lots of remedies related to Manglik dosha, but still we are not getting the expected result. So you're doing a remedy which is not appropriate at that point of age. The remedy for that time, it is not at all appropriate. You are performing a remedy at that point of time, so you are unable to receive that reaction energy out of it. But whereas when you actually study the horoscope ALP system of astrology, ALP very, very clearly shows when is the right time to perform the remedy for these sort of doshas. Are you seriously being affected with these doshas or not? If yes, when is the right time to do it?
Sorry to interrupt, Rupesh. I just have one question here which I want you to clarify. If the Mars is in ALP Lagna, in crisp words, what can you say for the experience will be?
See, generally, Mars is an ALP Lagna. Definitely, it has an aspect on the 7th house, on the house of spouse. And positioning of Mars in the Lagna Bhava from the traditional system is considered to be Manglik. Placement of Mars in the 7th house also considered to be Manglik. So Mars in the ALP Lagna and definitely has an aspect on your 7th house. This period is considered to be the Manglik dosha. But even then, if we further integrate, if we further deep dwell and see, we have to see the ALP nakshatra points. If the ALP nakshatra points are also traveling in the Mars nakshatra, that is Mrigashira, Chitta and Dhanishta, and this is the time period where you have to be little careful about the Mars. And that too, till when? Only till the 2 quadrants of the Mars nakshatra. Just for an example, let us understand Mars is placed in Taurus. And the ALP nakshatra is traveling in Mrigashira nakshatra. So Mrigashira nakshatra, first and second quadrant is in Taurus. Only for these 2 periods you should be worried about Mars. That's it. It's as simple as that. After these 2 periods, you're out of Manglik dosha. So if you want to perform a remedy should be performed within these 2 years, because you are into the zone of Manglik only for these 2 years. This is what ALP unwinds in a horoscope.
So this clearly says that you are not Manglik forever, and all of us will become Manglik at any point of time. So,
Absolutely.
Very essential to know when you are Manglik and what you should do. And it is only a limited period of time. So it is like, work towards improving yourself during that time. Make the best use of what opportunity nature gives to you, and be good to everyone. This is basically the traits you have to compulsorily follow, irrespective of Mars being active or not. Then you need not worry about any planet doing any harm to you. As it goes, you will find your own path and things will happen better for you. So this, with this, I think we will, wind up for the Mars aspect for today. We will throw more insights to Mars and the doshas with chart tomorrow. Meanwhile, for the tip for the day, people who are fearing Mars or want to improve the strength of Mars, you can do chanting of Hanuman Chalisa, or at least listen to Hanuman Chalisa, because Hanumanji will really give you the strength and the courage to face all the tests of time and protect and shield you completely. So he is the one, Sanjeevi, right? He is there to protect the earth as long as the creation exists. That's the boon he has taken from Lord Rama. So we thank you for watching our show today. Have a good day. If it's evening in that part of the world, good night and bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.